Hello again, nerds. We legitimately have a quick episode for you today. So, the little quick housekeeping. The progress on season 3 is coming along nicely. Thank you very much for asking. Also, sat down today with the folks over there at the What's Wrong With You podcast. So look forward to that episode coming out sometime soon. If it's not already out by the time you're watching this, in which case, go check them out. Look for What's Wrong With You cast. I believe on all of the socials. I'll have to double check with Jeremy and Mara, but that is what's going on behind the scenes. Also finishing up a pretty big project for Black Lion over a Big Show Entertainment, all of that. That's what we've got for housekeeping. We also have a shout-out section for this episode because that's what happens when you actually post videos to the other social medias. So, it's very small, but it's still there. Let's check out the shout-outs for today's episode. First up, we're starting in Instagram. I have Grace478533 and nertokmemes. Nerd Talk already follows, so Nerd Talk's other page obviously is going to be following as well. Then over on Gettr, we have some new followers. We have at Gregor209, we have at Nick_Axe, and at iBolsky. Thank you very much, nerds, for the follows. I appreciate it. Gettr is probably going to be getting a lot more traction from me specifically, but also with the whole Joe Rogan thing that's happened over the last week. That makes a bit of sense. And then on YouTube, gonna try something new with the YouTube and also all of the other platforms, but specifically the YouTube, because it seems we get a little bit more comments than we do subscribers. So I'm going to call out commenters, good, bad, or otherwise. We are going to call them out and thank them for their interactions, because it doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or otherwise. It's still an interaction. So the algorithm loves you for it and loves me even more. So thank you very much, Jonathan Garcia, for your recent comment on the Demon Hunter reaction video that we did about a year ago. So shout outs to you. That is what we have for the shout out section. That being said, we do have a little bit of movies to get out of the way. Just a couple of real quick follow-ups. The first one just being too big to ignore. Morbius has been pushed back again. This is now, I think, the most pushed back Marvel-related movie ever. So it got pushed back to April 1st. It is moving from January 28th. So we're now going to see it on April Fool's Day, apparently. Very interesting. We have some rumors around why that is the case, but we will get to that in a moment. Our other follow-up real quick on the movies side of things. The only other follow-up we have outside of the rumor section is Mortal Kombat related. So of course we are going to cover it, and it is that Mortal Kombat has been crowned by Warner Brothers as their most watched hybrid release of 2021. So congratulations to everybody that made, honestly, what very easily could have been a much better movie, but still, Mortal Kombat, gotta love it, gotta love it, gotta love it. Moving on to the rumors section. No confirmation refutations to speak of here, but we do have some really fun rumors to talk about. Our first rumor is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. We do have confirmation, and I'm going to butcher this name, so I do apologize, but we do have confirmation that Chukwudi Iwuji has been cast in the movie. So that is not the rumor. They are keeping it under wraps what he has been cast as. So the rumor goes on to say that that casting choice has been to cast him as the High Evolutionary in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. That goes along with a lot of the other rumors that we've heard dealing with this movie as well. So kind of starts to make sense. We also have James Gunn keeping mum on the topic. James Gunn did confirm the casting of Chuck. I'm just going to shorten it to Chuck because that's how Gunn refers to him as well. So I'm assuming that is a nickname he's okay with. So yeah, Gunn confirmed that he has been cast, but no one has said who it is for. So likelihood that Chukwudi Iwuji has been cast as the High Evolutionary. I'm putting this just slightly above halfway there. We're going to say 55% for that bad boy, just because it's not the best source, but it is also not the worst source. And it is only one source. Otherwise, we probably would have been up to about 60%. But single source saying these things that has been kind of hit and miss in the past, we'll put it just over halfway there, just because, like I said, it does line up with other rumors we've spoken of in the recent past. Before we get further in this video, nerds, I am going to remind you, if you have not already, please click that thumbs up button. Boop it, do the things, punch it, smash it, Hulk smash it even, do all of the stuff. Let the algorithm gods know that you like your information generally nerdy. And yeah, let's get back to your previously scheduled off-season episode. We do have a new Black Panther rumor as well. So Black Panther, the new rumor is related to Storm, because of course it is. The rumor goes on to say that not only will we see Storm in this movie, but it is going to tie into Storm and Ororo and T'Challa's past together. So Storm is going to be the first mutant that we see from the MCU, and Michaela Cole is the rumored actress who is going to be playing Ororo. Or Storm, whichever way you wish to refer to her. I love this. This is another instance of confirmation of casting. I have honestly heard this from a number of sources, number being 2. So more than one, and actually some pretty solid sources at that. So we're gonna push this one up just a little bit higher than the last one at 65%. I honestly at this point would be very surprised if we didn't see Storm in this movie somehow, but to what extent, and if it is going to be cast as Michaela Cole, very much remains to be seen. All right, so our next rumor has to do with Dune Part 2, and this one I'm kind of two minds about. I'm kind of excited that this might happen, but also they're gonna mess with my lore, and man, I'm a big Dune fan, so I don't know if I'm okay with you messing with that lore. So this rumor, and kinda sorta spoilers, exist going from here for the next couple of minutes, so if you do not want the potential of spoiling future Dune movies, then please by all means skip to the next rumor. I'll try and remember to put a timestamp on the screen for you if you're watching. If you're listening, I got nothing for you. Skip forward 30 seconds and cross your fingers. That's all I got. Anyway, so Black Panther 2, I'm sorry, Dune Part 2, whew, read the notes. Dune Part 2, the rumor is that we are going to see Jason Momoa make a return in Dune Part 2. And not in the sequel, whatever movie down the road is based on the second book. I believe the second book is Children of Dune, if I remember correctly. I didn't write down in the notes because I thought I would remember, and now I don't. I'm pretty sure it's Children of Dune. Anyway, no, Dune Messiah, that's right. Dune Messiah is the second book. Children of Dune is the third book. I apologize, I'm going off on a tangent. So, we already know that Dune is golden for a second movie at the very least. Very likely we're going to see a third and potentially even fourth movie. So that's why this rumor, I feel like, is not true. Because, again, spoiler alert, this is your final warning. If you are familiar with the story of Dune, as most of us deep nerds are, then you know that Duncan Idaho does return to the story. It is a convoluted and very long process that happens throughout the course of the second and into the third book even, but Duncan Idaho does return, and it is a pretty awesome return in the end. But that doesn't happen in the first book. He's dead for all intents and purposes in the first book. So if they do bring him back in Dune Part 2, which is supposed to just be the second half of the book, which to me, again, feels kind of more like the second 2/3 of the book, but... So, if they are going to bring back Duncan Idaho, the character that Jason Momoa played, I feel like that is more likely to happen in a third movie, which would be based on the second book, and not in this movie. So I can't give this very good percentage just based off of that. Also, I feel like there's way too much ground for them to try and cover. and not break canon and also still tell a great story. So I don't see this one happening. We're going to put this at about 30% just because there is a little room of, there's a bit more doubt in me than I want to admit, I guess. So moving right along, we have a rumor that has to do with the MCU TV shows. This one is Moon Knight. Shout out to Martin, by the way, over at Nerdy Legion, because he's already knows just how awesome Moon Knight is, and the rest of us are kind of just figuring this one out. Anyway, so George Clooney is rumored to have directed an episode of Moon Knight, which honestly, all of the production staff involved with this series have previously worked with Clooney on other projects, that Clooney has been part of the production staff as well. So this is very much within the realm of possibility. Honestly, I feel like this is an interesting way for Clooney to dip his feet in a little bit into the world of the MCU without really getting wet. So I honestly feel like this is a pretty strong possibility, again, considering a lot of the players involved and so on and so forth. It's not the best source, so we can't go all the way up as high as I would like to go. So we're putting this one at about 70% likely that Clooney directed at least one episode of the Moon Knight series. Over in the DC side of the streaming era, we are talking Peacemaker. The John Cena starring series is reportedly going to be bringing back a beloved character. Viola Davis is going to be coming back as Amanda Waller for the length of the series to some degree. It doesn't specify if she's going to be in every episode. Maybe we're just going to catch a cameo from her at one point or something somewhere in between those things. That part is not specified, which kind of lends itself to this rumor a little bit, but I feel like Viola Davis is Amanda Waller at this point. I feel like, honestly, I appreciate Viola Davis's portrayal of Amanda Waller 10 times more than I appreciate the portrayal of Amanda Waller in the animated movies. So yeah, let's do that for sure. So what we're going to do with this one is repeat what we had with the Moon Knight series and put this one right about 70%. I don't see any reason why they would need to recast Waller. Honestly, if Viola Davis is willing to come back, do it, man. Our next rumor is a gaming rumor, and it has to do with Death Stranding. Hideo Kojima and company are now rumored to be porting Death Stranding, the director's cut of Death Stranding, over to PC. I have no reason to believe otherwise. Honestly, would be surprised if this wasn't happening. Though there is a little bit of wiggle room because the rumor does specify that it is going to be Hideo Kojima and Kojima Productions doing this and not farming it out to somebody else with more experience in this realm. So I feel like that might be the variance in this rumor, which is putting us right about 80% likelihood that the director's cut is coming to PC sometime in the pretty near future. Our final rumor for this episode, I know I led with it in the movies news bit that we did at the beginning of the episode, but yeah, final rumor is Morbius. The rumored reason for Morbius getting pushed back a few months has to do with Spider-Man. Ha! Go figure! We can't not talk about freaking Spider-Man. If it's not Star Wars, it's Spider-Man, and it hasn't been Star Wars for a little while. Though, if you're not watching Book of Boba Fett, you owe it to yourself. The first episode, a lot of people are giving it more flack than I think it deserves. That first episode, I feel like, was a great introduction to what is very likely going to be a blast of a series, but I digress. Let's get back to Morbius, which is a completely different production house anyway. So, Morbius, the delay is said to be related to Spider-Man. In what way is it related to Spider-Man? Well, the rumor mill is churning with information that it might be the addition of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man into the narrative somehow. This rumor comes from a couple of very strong sources, so I cannot imagine this is not going to happen. And boy, I'm going to be a little gun-shy to call the bluff on a Spider-Man rumor after my very embarrassing call on the last set of rumors is putting Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire as mainstay characters in No Way Home. So this one we are also putting at 80% likelihood to be happening. That being said, that's all I got for you in this episode, nerds. We will be back next week for another off-season episode. I am working very hard on getting season 3 off of the ground, so stay tuned for those details as well as the new schedule and all that jazz. Thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. Don't forget to find me on the socials, do all of the things, and join me in the conversation. Oh, thank you very much, nerds. Before we head out, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.